on!
This is the story of how Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark changed theater forever, ushering in a new age of ultra-lavish blockbuster Broadway musicals. Almost. In the early 2000s, Spider-Man was everywhere. Burgers,
The hearty $6 burger.
soda, toys, cartoons, all kicked off by Sam Raimi's original Spider-Man trilogy.
Which took in almost $2.5 billion worldwide at the box office and hundreds of millions of dollars more through merchandising. So,
Why not a play? Why not a Broadway musical? In fact, why not the most expensive Broadway musical in history? This wouldn't be the first superhero stage adaptation. It wouldn't even be the first Broadway superhero stage adaptation. In 1966, there was actually a Broadway musical called It's a Bird, It's a Plane, It's Superman, which has a plot about the bad guys trying to make Superman feel insecure.
We must place him in the situation where he will disgrace himself. Yes, of course.
And it works.
Why can't the strongest man in the world be the happiest man in the world?
And then in the early 2000s, there was a traveling arena show called Batman Live. It told the backstory of Batman's sidekick, Robin. They had musical numbers, big lavish sets, they had a Batmobile driving around, huge choreographed fight sequences. It was aimed more at children, never made it to Broadway, but did tour around the world. But the Superman and Batman attempts at a stage musical both lacked one thing: being the most expensive production ever conceived. Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark aimed to solve this problem by literally being the most expensive Broadway production ever. And they got some headline-grabbing names, like Julie Taymor from The Lion King.
What is it about that comic that still has potency? The mythology, the reality of it.
And Bono and The Edge from U2.
We couldn't give up. We had to save Spiderman because Spiderman has to save New York.
Their goal was to push the boundaries of what's possible in a Broadway play. And they did that. And they did that.
If you watch a movie, you know that every 2 seconds you can cut. And so it's really hard to do that flying for 2 or 3 minutes without stopping. But it's very exciting.
But by far the most memorable thing about Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark is that they kept dropping they kept dropping multiple Spider-Mans on the ground. That's not totally true though. Sometimes the Spider-Mans just got stuck in the air, hanging from cables. So the stunts were a little overambitious. Some Spider-Mans wound up falling on the ground, some got tangled in the cables. Really, that's what Spider-Man does. He swings around. They're just trying to give the people what they want. Almost. The story was not what the people wanted. Now, you might assume a Spider-Man musical would be about Spider-Man facing off against one of his established villains, like the Green Goblin or Dr. Octopus. You might assume that a Spider-Man musical would be about Spider-Man himself. But that's not the case with Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. This play was about a half-spider goddess named Arcane. Taymor refused to do a normal Spider-Man story, and instead wanted to make the story feel more mythological.
I brought my own spin on the Spider-Man myth.
This resulted in a lawsuit after the negative reception to the first round of previews. And this is an excerpt from that lawsuit. Although Taymor was well aware that the Spider-Man musical was a commercial, for-profit venture that was intended to appeal to a broad audience, Taymor made it clear that she did not care about ticket sales or the public appeal of the show. Rather, Taymor's attitude was summed up by her statement that, "I don't give a F" about audience reaction. Eventually, a settlement was reached and the lawsuits were dropped. Julie Taymor was fired, the script was rewritten, and the stunts were scaled back. In 2011, Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark finally officially opened, after having the longest preview run in the history of Broadway at 182 performances. But it was too late. The damage was done. Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark was now a punchline.
Spider-Man is the greatest musical ever.
I really think you're gonna flip for it.
Ryan, are you like supposed to be flipping around right now?
Maybe.
Okay.
All right, so with Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, what happened? It's a clear-cut case of hubris. You have a musical adaptation of a universally beloved superhero, Spider-Man, where that superhero is sidelined in favor of a mythological villain no one's ever heard of named Arcane. If you're going to see a Spider-Man musical, it's a pretty safe bet that you're going to see Spider-Man, not to be introduced to a new mythological villain. On top of that, Arcane is complaining the whole time about being the only real artist left, which makes people think that she's a proxy for Julie Taymor. So you have a Spider-Man musical where the director has literally replaced Spider-Man with herself. And then on top of all of that, this thing doesn't have any respect for the fundamental laws of physics. You've got people flying around on cables, getting tangled up and falling down and hurting themselves on the ground. Instead of being known for its lavish production values and its over-the-top stunts and its rock score by Bono and The Edge, it was just known as the show that dropped Spider-Mans on the ground or got them stuck in the air on cables, and makes no sense.
What villains do you have left?
Well, we got some cool new ones.
That sounds bad.
Yeah. The Schmoop.
What?
Yeah. Shrek stops by for like an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
This was the story of Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, the record-breaking musical that combined the pop culture power of superheroes with the prestige of a lavish Broadway production, elevating both to new heights. Almost.
Oh, come on.